Talked about it last segment, but rest in peace, my main man Coolio.
Rest in peace.
We have been advised as checked out at 59 years old. 59. Gone too soon. I've said it. I'm saying it all the time now. Gone too soon, especially when people younger than me.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Gone too soon. Meantime, in the break, Mohammed Bullhead showed me where in France, 180,000 people were just arrested for faking inoculations. Is that the word, inoculation? Faking COVID shots.
They faked them.
Yeah. 180,000. Well, Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he faked. He just lied. I just think Aaron Rodgers lied.
Right.
You know, and
He told a white lie, man.
it was a black ass. He told a big black ass lie. Wasn't no little white lie. He told a big black ass lie. Brett Favre telling a big black ass lie.
Yeah, man.
He ain't know nothing about the money they were taking from the poor black people.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, he claiming that he
Got
didn't
a
know what
whole
source.
conversation.
And he from Mississippi?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Mississippi,
Well,
from
that's why he
Bo's
know.
hometown.
That's why
Got
he
a
know.
whole conversation.
He knew.
The mayor,
He knew.
The mayor say, "Man, I'm too old to go to jail." Got a whole
Yeah.
conversation. How you not know?
How
he
you
was
too old to
going
go to jail and you gonna send Bill Cosby to jail?
Exactly.
Right.
Then he
He
gonna say,
blind,
Facts.
tripping on the curb.
then he gonna say, we're not taking no for an answer.
That's what he said.
Yeah, we're not taking no for an answer. We want this
He
project
said, "You
done.
got to be a part of this. You got,
Got
to do
millions of dollars.
And then in Mississippi?
Because his daughter goes to that college and he was trying to build them a volleyball stadium because his daughter goes there. Now them niggas in Jackson ain't got no water. So
Right.
you
But you trying to build a
gonna try to
volleyball.
you gonna build this billion dollar stadium, but these guys ain't got no water.
They ain't got no
because
water.
you know why? Jackson 80% black. All the white people left there. They called it the white flight. That's what it's called, the white flight. The white people left Jackson, Mississippi because it's so dangerous. They were killing so many people up there. They left that area, and now they said, we ain't gonna vote for you for nothing. Why we gonna give you anything? We ain't vote for nothing for you.
You think that's why they left?
It's called the white flight, yeah.
Hey, that
When the
guy-
white people left, they took the votership with them.
The
And now the
votership.
black people don't vote. They don't vote. They don't know what they voting for. They don't know who on the ballot. Most black people don't even know who on the ballot.
Don't they got
Who
black
running?
mayor?
They ain't voting. So they didn't get anything.
Well, I mean, I'm not one to blame everything on white people now.
Just most things.
I mean, the chicken,
I don't blame that on
the
white
chicken
people.
crossed the road.
Right.
You know why the chicken crossed the
Well,
road.
look, Atlanta black. So
had the frying pan.
Jackson should deal like Atlanta.
You know why the
Atlanta's black.
chicken in Disney didn't go to the little black kids?
Well, I think anybody that's in the form of an administrative position in the government of the state of Mississippi should be under investigation because it's just a total misappropriation of funds. There's no way that you should have a bad drainage system or water system anywhere in the United States.
Right.
Period.
That's right.
It's just unexcusable.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
if you worked in any form of an administrative or in the government for the state of Mississippi, you should be under investigation regardless of your background.
Look at Detroit. Detroit, same thing. White flight. White people, Flint, they left the area.
Flight or not, it's
And
still
once they
some,
leave the
there's
area,
still some
they're
clerks
voting.
that are black. It's they might not be in leadership position, but to me, it got to be somebody that's on the checklist on seeing where there's money going and why the filtration system has not improved. Right.
But see, to me, like leaving, and I get what you're saying. Okay, they left, so okay, don't we want y'all to go? So now y'all gone. So let's take control of our city. So,
But-
like, let's take control of our city. Y'all gone. So somebody stand up, black, because all of us are not ignorant. It's a lot of intelligent black people. So let's take control of our city, like you just said. Atlanta, they're doing their thing.
Let me say this. When I grew up, the church was a big part of the community. Now when I go to church, I don't see any young people. I don't see no young black families with kids. It's, a black couple with kids that's 2 or 3 years old, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. All you see in church now is old people. If they do have some kids, they grandkids.
I disagree.
See what I'm saying? But
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, when I grew up, you went to church, and that's where you got a lot of your information with what's going on in the community. Now black people don't go to church. Young people don't go to church. You tell me where they going to church. Have you seen it at our
I just
church?
don't think that church should
At our
be the
church,
only
okay.
place that you get your information from.
Right.
I feel as though you have a due diligence to yourself as a black person to take care of your household. And if taking care of your household mean you need to get in position, then that's what you need to do. We need to stop. Like I heard you guys just say, the white people left. The white people left. Okay, bye. We gotta stand up for ourselves.
I'm not gonna
handle our own business. Take care of our own people.
I'm not gonna get on board saying that the youth can go to church, and I'm gonna brag about Berean Christian Church in Stone Mountain, Georgia, because we don't have that problem. We got youth. We are very involved in the community. We got youth, teenagers, singles ministry. We got it now, and I think even Atlanta as a whole, when it comes to black mega churches, there's not too many cities in America that has as many black mega churches as Atlanta does.
He said mega church though. Mega churches.
I agree with
But
that.
mega churches ain't in every neighborhood.
It might not be, but when you said the church, to me you went into a generalization to where I felt that was incorrect.
All right.
And so mega churches which have a predominantly membership, I don't think that is true. Even
Have a predominantly what?
out of predominantly black people, the mega church, they're not missing out on the youth. They're not missing out on the young adult. Now, some of these churches that refuse to change, that refuse to stay so biblically based in those communities that don't want growth, and to get back to when moves the point when my man was talking about the water, let's not say the church is always on the up and up, because we all know there are deacons back there that's counting the money and they don't go where it's supposed to go. So to get back to the point of,
We ain't never brought that up yet. That's a whole other conversation.
well, you were saying
You got deacon in here like, wait, there's a deacon back there say, wait a damn minute.
When we were talking about the filtration system, you were trying to say it falls back on the church. And I'm like saying, I was just basically saying, no, it don't always fall back on the church. It's the people in administration, be it black or white, that's looking at the money, that's looking at the books, knowing that, okay, where can we put this money?
Well, first place, it ain't as many black kids as it used to be because of condoms and you know.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, my mama had 12
And
brothers.
backstrap.
Who now? Which one of us got 12?
Well, you telling the truth now,
Nobody
because,
but Nick Cannon.
You
He got 12 baby mama.
y'all are right about that now. Black folks, we was having children back in the day now.
They don't have kids.
Because we need them to work the farm.
Right. Now, I'm going to say this, Rev.
Yeah, young Jock got a bunch of kids.
I want to say this, Rev.
Right.
So you leave your mega church and your pastor go preach to some other church that's not a mega church. Do you see that same youth influence?
If that other church that he's going to has spread the word, then yeah, they're going
No, I ain't said that. Whether he spread the word or not, do you see that in their church when you visit their church? Not you talking about your mega
but
churches.
it's-
So okay, you got mega churches. A mega church can only hold 5,000, 6,000, 10,000. You know how many people live in Atlanta? Every church ain't a mega church. Every church is not a mega church.
But to go back and answer your question, if the pastor who's invited, he's not responsible for that flock. All he can do is go there.
I didn't ask you that.
Sort of lead.
I asked you that. I said, when you go with him to that church, do you see that same population of youth in
Dynamic.
their church as you do in your church?
To a small church, and it should be. That's no different than certain arenas or certain halls. Like you might go to a place of entertainment, and it might not be as big as this other spot. That doesn't make it any less important. That's just the demographic that falls in. Okay, they don't have a youth following. They don't have a young adult following. But that don't mean that the older people there aren't there in need of the word of the message. It don't stop. You don't stop it, and it doesn't mean it's gonna stop growing.
Okay, you see that as my
I'm
question.
kind of with Bo on that too, because like generation, like my kids, that generation, they don't go to church like we did growing up.
I ain't make my children go like I should have.
Yeah,
in
we-
hindsight.
They didn't go to church like we. So like in hindsight, yeah, church attendance as far as children and certain youth, it has dropped. It has fallen because in certain aspects, you know, church started to look like business, like a business. So now people start falling off of church because now it looks more like a business than a place of worship. In Baltimore, in a certain place in Baltimore on the east side, within a 3-block radius is 5 churches.
Yep.
Why in the world would you have 5 churches within a 3-block radius? There's no sense
Why?
in that.
Because
it's
at
about
one point
money.
in time, back in the
When you
day-
see that, that's about money.
At one point in time back in the day, when they were not allowing black men to get jobs, the one thing they felt they could start was start their own church. And so that's why, back then, that's why you saw a lot of churches.
Hold on, we're missing the point. We're missing the point.
So to answer, I'm not missing the point. To answer your question, I don't believe in that facade of saying it's a drop off because America, be it black or white, did not go to church for a whole year and had to attend and listen to the word of God via their phones or television. So I don't think there's a drop off. I just think that after COVID, when people got used to sitting at home, watching it on it, why go to church when I get it?
We're missing the
I'm
point.
telling you.
I believe
We're missing the
that's
point.
true. Did you have right to believe
We're
that?
missing the point.
But church before COVID, church has started dropping off.
Yes.
When people start having,
But to your point,
used
Mook,
to be
a lot of
don't tell me
kids,
about the
our
church,
generation, didn't make our kids go to church because of the older generation who refused to deal with some of the things that was going on in the church. So people like me was like, look, I know what happened to this person. I know what this person did, or I know what this person went through, and the pastors or Catholic people, whatever you want to call them, they didn't do anything about it. So our generation's like, we're not going to put our children through that.
And in
So
some
we have a lot of
churches,
fake pastors,
Right,
and so we
I
say,
agree.
you know what? We're not going to put our we're not going to put our kids through it.
I think
There's a lot of
that
dynamics to
the
it.
other point is
No,
that
Mark.
the other point is, first of all, I grew up in the church. All
I
right.
asked you that.
All right. So let me. I'm gonna make my point, and I'm gonna answer your question.
Okay.
All right. Now, to Bo, I have to agree with him on the stance that the church used to be a full-fledged part of the community, which as the community broke down, that dynamic of having a church has been lost as well. Now, that's not to say that there's not youth being involved in churches, but if you look at mega churches compared to the total number of churches around the country, you can go to more churches that don't have a youth presence than you can to other churches, than the churches that do. Overall, if you can look at every church, that's what Bo going on. So your experience and what you're doing right now, yeah, you have that, but there is a big percentage of churches that don't have that, and part of that has to do with the breakdown in the black family and the black community.
That's why I
And
said
that's
we
where the
missing
communication was
big
coming in.
The big point. Hold on.
To your point,
What I'm
I
saying,
feel
the
as
big
though it's
point is
also a
The
breakdown in
we
the
got more
church.
successful in kind of
I
trusting
feel
a
as
lot
though
of
it's
our
a breakdown
material
in the church
things.
because you just said that the church was very instrumental in the community.
Yes, it was.
So there's a breakdown in the church because when you got pastors that's not doing what they supposed to do, you got deacons that's, to your point, taking off the top, you got hoes and all kinds of other stuff going on up in the
Wait a
churches.
minute now. Ho got right to
Hold
go
on,
to church.
So it's on the pastors.
Ho got right to go to church.
right.
No, what I'm
Yeah,
saying
got
is
right,
you
go
in
to
there
church.
doing your whorish stuff. You don't supposed to still do the whorish stuff.
Well, you
You're
can do
supposed
it,
to be
but you
trying
come
to
to
be
church.
delivered
Can't
from
change
the whole
overnight.
stuff.
Look,
Can't
look,
change
look, look,
overnight.
look,
Yeah,
baby.
that's
So
true.
this-
But you shouldn't be sleeping with the pastor and then smiling in the
But
white face.
this
If
wasn't
pastor
a
leaving with a
phenomenon.
hoe, is it a whole problem or a pastor problem?
I think it's a pastor problem messing with the I think it's a pastor problem messing with
Which one you mad at?
Hold on. Let me get back to
You mad at the hoes or you mad at the pastor?
Can I
Instead
get
of
back
looking
to
at ourselves on the fact
I think
of,
we got off
well, a
course.
lot of people
What we
was
talking
on attendance in the church because we had to rely on God. We didn't have as much material. We was fighting through so many things like civil rights and lack of jobs and growing. So now we've gotten a more accustomed to a lot of nice things, and a lot of us, even when we get nice stuff, what's most of the time we do kind of feel like we gotta go to church. When we go through something hard or something tough,
That's true.
Ain't nobody talking about the pastor stuff is a problem. And then you ain't bringing up the pastor sleeping with this such and such. It's the moment when your money get funny or something or your health ain't right is when you're going to go back. And nobody talking about the lack of children stuff then. So why is all of a sudden
Can I
when
say
everything
this?
is going good?
Let me tell you the problem I got with mega churches, which a very good friend of mine is pastor of a mega church. But here's the problem I got. You know, my daddy was a pastor, preacher, and he had what was considered large church back in that day, 2,000-3,000 members. He knew everybody by name. A lot of the weekends, we hardly saw my daddy because he was out getting everybody's son or daughter out of jail. He was burying everybody. He was at the hospital seeing everybody. Now,
But my dad was a recruit.
the way the mega church has changed the game
I
is
totally agree with you on that part. What you about to say?
2 or 3 things. When I was on radio 5 years in Dallas, Texas, and a lot of the Potter House people would call them TD Jakes. They would call in complaining, saying, my daughter getting married or wants to get married, and my pastor, TD Jakes, won't do the ceremony.
Right.
And I say, well, you knew the man had 30,000 men when you joined. You think that's something? He ain't gonna bury your mama either. He'll send somebody.
Right.
So when they called in complaining, for example, when my boy Dion, and I was invited to the wedding in the islands, TD went over there to marry him, went to the wedding at least.
Deion Sanders, he talking about.
Deion Sanders. And people calling in saying, but he wouldn't marry my daughter. Well, if you got 30,000 members and you got to decide who you going to marry, you going to marry somebody putting in $100,000 a year or $20
Right.
A year.
But as far as what I during my lifetime came to be associated with as far as pastoralship, it was like my daddy who was getting folk out of jail, burying the dead, marrying the people's daughters, going to see the sick people. But now, a few years ago, I was at the Potter House. I went by there because I was doing shows in Dallas. I came out, boy about, I don't know, 20 years old, flagged me down, DC, DC, DC. What's up? I got this script. He had paper in his hand. I got this script I wrote. Would you look at it? Would you read it? Would you get somebody to read it? I said, script for what? For a movie. And TD Jakes was producing movies. So I said, well, your pastor produces movies. What'd he say about it? He said, I ain't never met him. I can't get to him. I've come to the office and tried to see him. He won't see me. You know, I said, are you a member? He said, yeah. You know, get your offering here to whatever extent. Yeah. Your family get your offering here.
Right.
And you can't even get to see the man.
Right. Yeah.
And just me being old school, I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
But there's no way what I have come to know during my lifetime as pastoral shit. You know, the man bury your dead folk, marry your kids. Now, there's no way that a person can be of that type of service to 20 or 30,000 people. It's
That's right.
impossible.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
But you can't have that because one thing I will give Pastor Lee, he does 4 sermons a Sunday, and if he doesn't have to go to the other location, he does stay behind him and his wife.
I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, I mean he'll do it.
He do full
You cannot bury all those people. You cannot bury all of their relatives. You cannot marry. You cannot go visit all them sick people. You can send somebody,
Right.
but which I guess is all right. But it's just not what
Right, personal.
I have grown up to regard as
Being a pastor.
as a pastor, looking after the people.
And even like when I was in the church and I was a youth minister, we had Wednesday night we had something called Teen.
You was a what?
Youth minister. Youth minister.
I knew it was coming.
And so yeah.
He was a youth and he ministered.
So,
That's the downfall of the church right
Oh
there.
my God.
so we had a thing on Wednesday nights where we had something called Teen Scene. And what we used to do, we used to get all the kids from the neighborhood, the drug dealers. There was no recreation centers. You know, they Charlotte recreation centers down there off Hilton Street, Hilton,
Right.
Baltimore. So there was no rec center. So all the guys, the hood guys, would be out with having to do. So this is what we did. Our church used to be a school. It used to be a high school. So we turned the auditorium into that was our church, but we still had the school. So we had a full basketball gym. So we would have all the guys off the street. We would allow them to come in there for 2 to 3 hours and play basketball just to get them off the street, give them something positive to do. But before you did that, you had to sit in our little Bible study for like 30, 45 minutes.
Give him a chance.
So we did that. And the kids were coming. You know, we trying to get them gradually into the church. They were trying to get them off the streets. But the problem we ran into were the older people of the church.
Yep.
We ran into that problem. They talking about them. They turn their nose up at them. So now you got these young guys who we trying to reach out to, who we might have a breakthrough with. You got these people in the church who they coming to like, you know, when you grow up in the hood, you look at the church, you see the women in the church, and you think these people are just, they godly, like, I can go to them, they're going to help me.
Right.
They're not going to look at me any kind of way. I can go to them and tell them my deepest secret.
And they more
they're going to open me, you know, come to me open arms. It ain't like that. So when these guys on the street come and they see that, it turns them away. Which in turn turns their kids away. Which in turn turns their kids away. So that's where you got the fall off, in my opinion. And that was back in, well, I think it was like 97, 98 when I was experiencing this with these kids. Like, I mean, these hardcore kids, and they thinking about coming to church. But then and we got teen scene going on, we got regular Bible study. So we let everybody at the same time. The kids, you know, leaving, but the old people turn their nose up at them. Kids asking for a ride home because it's late. So that turned them off. So now you got generations of kids that don't want to go to church because of that. Even though they say, well, you're supposed to go to church for God, but these kids off the street need help, especially these young men.
Can I come back to my point?
But that's when the Bible said, greater works will you do.
Harder for them because I went through that same thing down in Mobile, Alabama, and I went out of town and I left, and you know, our church had that, well, you got to be a member to come in. Well, I didn't care about that. I felt like it was all about the community. I didn't care what you did, what your background. I felt like I could be more of an impact on you. So then, of course, we were doing it. I got called before the board and the deacons, and I just bought it. I just said, I dare any of you guys call yourself a Christian. When a kid comes up to that window in the summertime and it's hot, and he looked through them doors and you don't let him through the door. And I said, the moment any of y'all come in and can tell a kid no, I'll step down. I didn't get that one person.
You think a person ought to go to a church though where a pastor don't even know your name? Do you think a person ought to go to church and give their offering and the pastor don't even know your name?
No, I think you, I don't think you should, but I'm hoping that if I'm giving my offering, then I'm going to do something that I'm going to be active and it's reciprocated. But there are, unfortunately, sometimes that you got certain pastors that just, they don't stay around. And and the one that made me join was that when he spoke on certain issues that I know to deal with, I said, okay, this guy's real. I don't mind learning.
Can I finish my point?
I think it's different levels when it's, and if I could, okay. I think it's just different levels, to your point, Mook, and to your point also. And what you said, DC, is that when you got mega churches, you can't expect for the pastor to pastor everybody. That's why he have his ministers there, but the ministers are supposed to represent the pastor.
Oh, it's a bunch.
So it's what you want out of it. You can't very well think you're going to a mega church and think the pastor's going to know you.
That's what I used to tell him on radio.
He's not going to know you.
He's not going to know you. He's not going to bury your mama.
No, he's not going to know you, especially when you're not.
He don't bury you.
Look at friend of ours, Big Rome.
Yeah.
He passed. His mama been going to that church, Creflo Dollar Church, for 50 years.
Long time.
And when Big Rome died, she asked the pastor to.
But now you got to clarify that and say this is. I don't know if you know that for a fact. Now is that a fact? I know where you hit it.
Yeah.
Is that a fact or it said that?
She said.
It said that.
Well,
What you heard.
I ain't going to tell what happened, okay? But the amount of money that the pastor asked for was huge.
And this for a person that
been
was
going to his church,
a member, been going
and paying tithe
and
for years.
See, go back to what I said.
Let me go back to my point when I brought this up. Let me go back to my point when I brought this up. I'm saying this because black kids nowadays has no outlet, no support system. We used to have that in the church. That's what the church was for back in the day. You had that. You had some kind of respect. You went to church every Sunday. You had some kind of respect for your neighbors and your friends. But now I don't see kids coming to church. I don't see young adults coming to church. Not even kids, but what I call young adults, 25 to 35 to 45. I don't really see them in the church. I see older people in the church right now. If they do bring kids, it's their grandkids. The mother and father now is the grandkids. And that's just what I'm saying. Where are our kids going to get some kind of support system to how to treat each other, how to act like adults, how to respect each other. If we ain't getting in the streets, you're not getting in school, church, we used to get that. Because I got that from church. I didn't act up at all because I was scared to embarrass my mother and father because we went to church and you didn't want your mother and father to come and get you out of jail and hear all that. You know what I'm saying? You the bad kid. And I grew up.
I really don't think you should be. I really don't think you should be a poster example.
I know, but I was a virgin. I didn't have sex till I was damn near grown.
Jeez.
I didn't. I'm just saying.
He's making a point.
I was taught in a way that you didn't do that kind of stuff. You didn't.
But to your point and to Mook's point, I can't speak for the people that's in the church that you're going to. But like you just said, the older people, you want the young people to come in, then you can't judge them.
Right.
If you want friends, you must first be friendly. When I started going to church, I mean, I was off the chain looking because I was still in the street, and they judged me. I cursed them out.
Yeah.
But that was also 1973.
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of devil in me. I cussed them out. I literally cussed them out in the church. I'm like, F y'all. You judging me? Don't I supposed to come here to get
you were doing wrong. Yeah, you said you were doing wrong.
But then you supposed to have loving arms for me, right?
They try to bring you in, but you probably cuss them out. Right?
No, you can't look me up and down in front of your nose up at me because I'm.
Well, you come there with your titties hanging out.
You're supposed to do that.
And your ass hanging out.
You ain't wise. You know, I'm trying to figure it out.
The Bible says come as you are.
Come as you are.
That's
You ain't supposed to
right.
judge.
Even I want no hoe,
Right.
but I'm saying I had the dope dealer mentality, so you can't judge. So when you're in church and you see the people coming, you can't. You my mom said, stop trying to dress the fish up when the inside ain't gutted. You just gotta
Let's touch on that
dress
come
the
as you
fish.
are, because everybody like to take that scripture and run with it. Initially, they say come as you are. That's upon your introduction to God and accepting Him. Now, once you accept Him and trying to live, you done already done that part. Is come
Yeah, but it's hard to pay
But when you first come in,
it's hard to pay attention to the pastor
I'm all about
when
growth.
titties all they got the titties hanging out and
but
shit.
if that's all, well, that won't mean.
trustees.
But if that's all they got,
You can't trust the trustees.
then you need to you know
You come as you are and then get educated. Not judged.
so then let the Lord start dealing with that person. You go with love and kindness do I draw thee. So what happened to the love and the kindness? So with the old people,
I'm
or
with
the
you
elder
to an
people, I
extent.
feel them, but you can't be judging the young
I'm with
people.
you to an extent.
Yeah, I mean,
with
I
you
ain't
too.
coming out with no
Not you.
breasts hanging now.
Not you.
But if that's all you got.
But I'm saying
If that's all you got.
that ain't all nobody got.
Yeah.
What if that
that's all I got.
prostitute decide one day, the prostitute, she on the street,
Yep.
she on the
Yeah,
strip,
yeah.
and she say, you know what, I'm just gonna go to church.
Yep.
But you ain't gonna sell them pussy in church looking like that.
That's coming as you
What you
are.
got, man?
That's where you are.
people
But why
at
would you
church-
do that when why you worrying about how she dressed on the outside? That's the
got
problem with church
low
folks.
the
You so worried
ministries
about how they dressed
and
on the
rainbow.
outside,
Well,
get right on the inside.
even
What
if
about
you-
them holy hoes? You got holy hoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
which
down
one is
the church,
worse?
ain't nothing
A
wrong
holy
with
that.
hoe,
I think
a
that-
holy hoe that's gonna be a hoe,
become-
or
No,
a
that's
hoe
no.
trying to be
No,
trying
you
to
can't
reverse
just come
something.
in
Nothing holy about
any
them.
kind of way and be a distraction to everybody and disrupt things because of your game. Now you be better off. They be better off actually not letting you bring your ass in. So the stripper
The
supposed to
stripper.
come to church naked. No, I'm exaggerating. But you can't come in there being
But what if all
to
she
the
got
general.
is tight clothes?
Yeah, what is
That
that?
is,
I ain't saying
that is
have your
not
nipples out and all of that.
That doesn't exist.
But what if all she got
That doesn't
is that?
exist.
But what if that's her mentality? What if that's her mentality?
She get a nice dress.
Yeah, she needs to get her mentality.
Because you got some young girls, that's all they got is short
But that
clothes.
type
No. I know girls like that.
that
Y'all,
type of-
see, y'all be making them are what I call black excuses. There are no girls who ain't got no clothes except thongs with their ass hanging out, which is all right. I'm just saying it's a distraction in church. So you ought to be respectful of.
So if she all she got is a short skirt, she can't come with the short skirt. If that's all she got.
That's not all she had. That's not all she
But
had.
what if okay, church is
That's not how
Sunday.
she
She
had.
was out Saturday night. She was hoeing.
Yeah.
Something might have happened. God might have tried to rape her something. She said, "You know what? I'm done with this.
going
I
as
wanna
is.
change
Going to
my-
church.
Right
I
now.
want to go to church right now.
Right now.
So you telling me she's supposed to say, wait a minute, I can't go
Wait
like
till
this.
rainbow
Yeah,
open.
yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
go home.
Wait till
I
rainbow
ain't go
open at
home.
11
Dress
o'clock.
decent.
No, no,
come
no.
back. I need
She
to go
come that
home.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Change up
Right.
and come back decent.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Now by then,
Yes.
the
Exactly
enemy,
what I'm
but
saying.
by then the enemy done put something else in play in front of her
Yes.
to change her mind. Now
Well,
we
to
all know the
distract
enemy's
her.
always
Exactly.
active.
Yeah.
If she ready to go to church right now,
Well,
why
bitch,
should she be
that's chance
walking
you
right
take.
there?
That's chance you take, bitch.
No.
Hey, she can come that Sunday.
I'm
She
all
can't come
about
every
come
Sunday
as
like
she
that.
are and learning
You come that
better.
Sunday, but the next
She
time
come
you need
right,
to
she
be
gotta
dressed
change. But
appropriately.
She
once
gotta
you
do
know
it
better,
every
you do
time.
better.
She don't know better.
Yeah,
When she
I'm
first
with
What
that.
I'm
Once
saying
you know
is,
better,
one
you
Sunday she
once
come
you
like
know
that.
better, you
let me
do
say
better.
this
I
for you.
agree with that.
Let me say this for you. If you come like that, you're disrespecting the people that are there. Now, while I'm a Christian, I don't take no shit. And you're not going to force your lifestyle on me. And you're not going to disrespect me just because I'm supposed to be accepting or whatever. No, and there is no black. If you must be a badass stripper if you cannot afford. And don't tell me strippers don't have ready clothes, because I see them in the mall all the time, and
Yeah,
I be
that's
hiding
true.
because some of them be like these.
That's true. That's
I
true.
mean, you come one Sunday like that, but the next Sunday,
But
you
the
need to be
next time
dressed
you're gonna
appropriately.
What you got, man?
That's what Mook was saying. What
That-
if?
exactly.
So that I got to get in there.
All right, hold it, Cap. What you think?
One thing about it, people, you went to church in like the early 60s. Times was different back then.
Born in the 60s.
I know you wasn't. You was born. You was a 70. Okay, well, still it was different back then. And the times have changed. Now they got MTV, they got music videos, they got cyber hoeing is at a high level.
Got free porn.
Free porn all night, every day. So the standards were different.
Bo knows all about
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly what that was. So you saw different values. They didn't have big mamas no more. You know what I'm saying? Grandmama's 35 now.
People just dressing disrespectful to work and everything. Period.
They
got all that
do.
sexual-
We just got normalized with it. They are disrespectful. Remember when women didn't show cleavage all the time?
No, they wear it, but
Let me tell you something.
You get out loud if you want to. They
Every woman wear tights.
You can't go in certain restaurants dressed as certain kind of.
That's true.
Women wear tights.
But they
everywhere
do, but they try to.
They try, but they
Yeah,
are certain
But,
restaurants.
church supposed to be on a whole different level than that.
Level, yes.
Supposed to be on a whole different level. Now listen,
You
I'm not
don't come
saying,
in
but
and
see,
disrespect
I'm not
the
saying,
situation
I'm not saying on
just
purpose.
because.
I'm not saying on purpose. I'm not saying she had all these
Listen, Mook.
It's a
but I'm
difference
saying
on when you
if-
want
I'm
to
finna call you out.
if
I'm about to call you out.
I got the phone.
I'm about to call you out.
I got the phone.
I got a club owner that told me not to bring you back because you went up in short pants.
Y'all in short pants.
Went up in short pants. On a show for me.
Right.
Where people paying $40, $50 to see me, and I put you up to open the show, and you have on short pants. Inappropriate is never all right, brother. It just don't add up. So even though in that scenario you still got what is appropriate and what you can't go to school any kind of way. I remember one day they sent my daughter home because her shorts were too damn short at school.
Well, let me ask you this question. Had I known that was a problem, would I wore them shorts?
How long you been performing?
No, what you mean?
How long you been performing?
For a minute. How many times
How
have you
long
seen
you
me
been
wear
performing
shorts?
professionally?
How many times have you seen me wear shorts?
Hold it. Let me get it first.
Yeah.
Let me get it first.
How many times have you seen me perform in shorts? How many times have I performed with you in shorts?
Only that once.
No, that's not the only time I performed with you in shorts.
What did you ask me?
You said how many times? I said how many times have you seen me perform in
And I
shorts?
said only once. I've only seen you. You gonna tell me how many times I've seen you? I've seen you perform in shorts once.
Okay.
But how many times have you done that? On a professional show. I ain't talking about open mic now.
No, a couple of times I've wore shorts.
You've done
to
a couple
show.
times.
A couple.
How many shows would you estimate you have done? So obviously you know it ain't right.
No,
So
that's
why
not,
would you do it?
That's not why. That's not it. It's not a situation.
Have you
that
done
no one-
1,000 shows?
Yeah, about 9.
Have you worn shorts 2 times?
2 times during the show? Or 2 times out of the whole? Yeah, probably.
5?
Maybe no. No, I ain't gonna say that.
So less than 5 shows out of 1,000, you've worn short pants. So you realize there's something wrong with that.
No, it's just because that's what I chose.
Okay.
I just didn't choose
So
to
you
wear that.
think now, you still think that's all right?
No, I just chose not to wear that. We was somewhere where it was 100 fucking degrees outside, so I'm like, okay. I had on a button-up shirt.
We was 100-something degrees outside. We were performing inside.
Right, but you got to go from outside to get inside, and when you finish inside, you got to go back outside. I had on a button-up shirt, and I had my shorts that were iron with a crease in them, so I didn't come in there disrespectfully with the whole demonstration. It ain't like I own shorts, t-shirt, my shorts are hanging off my ass. I came in there just as respectfully with them shorts and that button-up as if I did with my jeans and a button-up. And like I said, if I'd known that was a problem, then I would have made sure that wouldn't happen. Just like they said about church. If you just go to church for the first time and you don't know what the dress code is, but you know you want to get into that church, you're going to wear what you got on.
You just said you've done hundreds of shows and worn shorts less than 5 times.
That's because that's just what I wore. It wasn't a cognitive thing for me. I just didn't say, okay, I'm doing these shows and I'm not wearing shows. It wasn't cognitive. That's just what I choose to wear at the time. And like I said, if you
Who
know,
else have you seen performing on a professional show in shorts? You ever seen anybody uptown performing in shorts at a professional show?
Actually, that's the first I've ever heard of. I'm be honest with you. I've never seen.
I can't remember. I can't
think of a comedian I've
tell you.
seen
Right off
in
back
shorts.
right now.
If you can't remember, that's enough right there.
Mexican comedian.
I'm just saying I see a lot of shows. I've been to a lot of shows.
What's
so
his name?
I can't.
Carlos Mencia? No, I've never seen him in shorts.
Yeah, the fat Mexican
The fat Mexican,
comedian.
yeah, he wears shorts.
Yes, he do.
He
He a
wears shorts.
headliner. Give her Iglesias. He a draw. He can wear the fuck he
That's
wants.
my
He can go out
point.
there
He's
naked.
the headliner. I'm a feature. So if the
shouldn't be able
headliner,
to
so
do that.
I'm just saying. It's
should-
that
If you
again.
know this man come
Again
out
to
there
the
with a
point I'm saying.
$5,000 suit on.
That compared to
You
someone
should-
going to church to get their life changed.
Well, like I said,
Don't come to
person
DC
come to
church.
church disrespecting the rest of the
I
people.
get you if it's on purpose.
I'm saying, hey, I don't give a shit if
But
it's on
if someone
purpose.
So
just
she
said- so
don't wear her breasts out and
Wear
what
a
she gonna
suit.
wear. What she gotta wear?
The DC
I just
church.
want to talk to all the hoes what they wear.
If she
when they go
come
to church.
looking just extremely hoish,
Don't come extremely hoish.
Like tight ass dresses.
Tight dress.
I mean, if I was at the door, I'd say,
Man, the
nah,
dress can be tight as
I
one.
mean, I would make would say, let me get a shirt out the car. I've seen that happen at church.
Yeah, I seen
I've
that.
seen women show up and they say, well,
I
let me
seen that.
I've
And
seen
they
some of the
do it-
sisters say, let me go get you something.
And they do it in
But they brought him
decency.
in.
They brought, they, if the person is willing to conform
Right.
to that.
Yeah, they
And that's
do
the
it in
point that he's
decency.
making.
I tell you something I've seen lately that I never saw back in the day. And I saw this at Eddie Long's church when Eddie Long was alive. I've seen brothers sitting in there with their hats on. See,
take 'em off.
not only are you disrespecting the situation, but there's
Yeah,
a
they ain't say
certain way to act in certain, out of reverence to that. And a person that comes in there with that defiant mind, I can come in with my ass hanging to that. You're not gonna reach that person, no damn.
Right.
So you're wasting your damn time.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
if they had the right frame of mind, they would be like, well, I ain't got to wear no turtleneck.
Right.
But I know I've been to
Yeah.
church. A person would say, I've been to church before. I know I can't go in here with
Yep.
my nipples showing like this.
Yep.
I shouldn't go in here with
And if
my-
they truly
with this
are from
string
a
up
place of
my ass.
repentance, they're not gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
You're
So
not
you
gonna-
wasting your time fucking with them
If
anyway.
they truly come from a place of repentance, I don't care what she did the night before. Man, when you at your lowest, you truly need God. You're gonna do whatever it takes to get strong.
You wouldn't let a person just come up in the church.
Ain't nobody from
and
church gotta tell you how to be.
And because they go
These
out,
things on him.
or because
They don't got nothing.
they've been out all night.
in your church.
You wouldn't let a person.
No.
What?
He's supposed to go get the clothes that he can't afford.
He ain't.
You wouldn't just let a person.
A homeless man walking into the church, trust me, it's gonna be so humble. He ain't gonna have a defined spirit, and he gonna do whatever it
But we're
takes.
not saying that. We're just saying
That
that.
ain't a stripper.
You brought him up. I ain't bring the homeless man up.
but
What a homeless man supposed to be.
You don't let nobody
That's my
come
point. So what
in.
they were saying is
You
that
don't let nobody
how
come
they come in the
into.
first time is one thing.
You don't let nobody come into a situation and dominate the situation because they not
Exactly.
a person. We do limited amount of cussing in here.
Right.
I ain't gonna let nobody come in here and just go off
Right.
on no rant.
Right.
And I ain't mad at them.
Right.
I'm just telling you, this ain't the place for it.
Right.
But it still
And
should be
most of the time when homeless people-
balance though, because in the aspect of what I was speaking in reference to when I went to church, I used to wear a lot of short, extreme hairstyles. And then I used to wear a lot of makeup. That's where mine came from, not so much the
Oh,
dressing.
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, no.
I mean, in my opinion,
Well,
You were so focused on the outward woman and didn't understand that the inward woman is what needed to be fixed.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It wasn't the makeup and the hair.
and so that was my situation where they judged
They
me
judge you on your hair.
and my makeup.
Right.
No, they were judging you on them big old titties. It wasn't about your hair, that makeup. They saw them titties hanging out.
Well, the pastor, I
You
knew
were
they was
worried about
talking about him
your
because the pastor spoke one Sunday. He said, you gotta leave. I can't remember what he said. He said, but some of y'all need to put makeup on. I looked at my mom. I said, who in this church talking about me? Because I was on the one that wore makeup. And he spoke on that. And he's like, and I didn't never stop wearing makeup. I might have brought it down some, but that ain't had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with me and how I felt about myself.
That passed on the stage like this, looking dead down in your
You know
titties.
what?
What about your makeup?
You know what?
You saw them titties hanging out.
Might have been in the back row.
Lord Jesus bless him.
I
God.
think y'all have respect for the situation. If
Yeah.
Angelo hire you come in and work at this club, you ain't gonna come in here just any kind of damn way.
That's true.
I'm telling you, you ain't.
Oh, yeah.
And you can have all you wanna say. You could have all the this how I am. No.
Well, hey,
But-
Angela,
but-
my next
but
show
Angelo-
was gonna be
Angelo
all
wear Michigan
G-string.
stuff.
My
He
next
wear
show gonna be all
University of
G-string,
Michigan
Angelo.
stuff. University of Michigan.
My next show all G-string. So is that okay?
Lord
All
help 'em.
G-string. Everybody.
I'm just saying,
Oh my God.
even if they're trying to rule you into a situation, you ought to have, I mean, it's just common sense to have respect for the establishment. And a person that want to go in church totally inappropriate, I ain't talking about makeup, but you know what inappropriate is, goes into a church, into a mosque, totally inappropriate.
Now, you ain't going in
know
that
they
mosque.
require headdress in certain mosques and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Why
'cause
would
you
you
ain't
try
going
to
in
go
that
in there without one? Talking about the Bible say, "Come as you are."
Yeah, you ain't going in that mosque.
That ain't what that means.
You ain't going up in that
That ain't
mosque
what
without
they
that hairdressing on. That ain't gonna work.
That ain't what they mean. And to disrespect the establishment don't fly with me. So maybe I'm wrong.
That ain't the old. I got to say. I said, some people that ain't the Old Testament. It's like once you got to an understanding, and that's when you did. That's where dressing up for these Sundays best come from. Because when it did become on the Sabbath and word, then people were when they got to a point of understanding and blessing God, they dressed in their best.
It came because when they were slaves, that's when their day off and they could wear
Shut
the
your
best
white
stuff.
ass
That's
up.
wear that dress to the best they can.
Slaves back then, slaves back then versus slaves now. Back then, if you
What
were
nigga
slave-
had a suit back then,
if
nigga?
you
We
were
were
a slave
slaves.
in Egypt, you had the possibility of getting and being promoted into royalty.
Right.
Totally different.
Right.
So don't come with that.
But what we're
Caucasian
no. The way people feel about going to church now comes from our experience as slaves when we had that day off, and that was the day they could clean up and look the best they could for the week.
You are
Yes, it
very
is. Oh, I am very right about that.
You are
I'm very
very
right. I am very right about that.
Super.
No, you're not right about that.
I'm not right. So
No,
you
you're
can't
not.
tell me.
You're not right.
You wanna know why people
I'm
got
telling you,
dressed
you're not
up?
right.
You can yell at me and all that. I mean,
I'm telling you, you're not right. You know, you've been saying you right about everything about this church conversation, but you're wrong right here.
If we gonna be in that category of church, I'm gonna be right.
You're not right. You're not right about every
I'm
time
pretty
about
sure.
church.
I'm pretty sure
You might
Nat
be a
Turner.
deacon, but you're not right about
I'm pretty
every
sure
time
Nat
about
Turner
church.
didn't have a suit on.
You got dressed up. So
Hey, I'm pretty sure Nat Turner didn't have a suit on.
Say what now?
I'm pretty sure Nat Turner didn't have a suit
But he
on.
looked his best on Sunday because that's the only day he can look his best on.
So you going off of slavery and, like I said, over
Our experience in the black church today is based on this.
What are you talking about?
Well, I can say I'm black when I want to.
And in defense, in defense of hoes. But I'm gonna say this in defense of hoes. I think hoes would be insulted to hear you say they don't know how to dress going to church. I mean, hoes not stupid. The hoes I know
They
ain't.
tacky, but they ain't stupid.
You said they're going to.
And to take literally where it say come as you are, which I think is referring to internal, don't mean literally come as you are, like naked. Because that's how you really are. But you supposed to have some common damn sense.
But you saying they got to be fully dressed. But if
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said there's a line, and you know what the line.
You're not gonna walk
what's
past
the
every
line?
You
damn
ain't
store on
gonna
the
come in no.
You're not
in
gonna walk
no
down the
church.
neighborhood half dressed to go into a church. You know you're not gonna do that.
But what if somebody in there that's not in their right mind? Let's just say they ain't in their right mind.
They ain't gonna be in the right
And
mind
they
in the
have
church
naked,
either.
Well, what
and they
good
decide they
church
wanna
gonna
go
do
to
for
What
church.
church gonna do for
And they say they won't go into church.
And you gonna let
They in their
them.
right
The
mind.
usher gonna stop
They
them
ain't
at the door.
You gonna let
And
them
what the
come
usher
in.
gonna do?
Ain't that the church can do for you if you crazy?
What they gonna say? Blah blah blah.
They will talk to them.
I tell you, your ass can't come in.
Yeah, they open the door for you. They will minister to you, and hopefully they're going.
So are they gonna turn them away?
Yeah.
So that one.
The church door should always be
They're
open.
gonna turn them away.
Either that or the older lady gonna take him in the back and put a coat around him.
So wait a minute. So
Either
if
that.
somebody literally come to the church and they have what y'all consider inappropriate, the usher gonna stop them at the door and
Yes.
say they can't come in the church.
Right.
Right.
And
That's what they're gonna do.
And they're gonna bring out the elders. They're gonna bring out the elderly ladies. So this lady here needs some help. And they're gonna go in the back and put some clothes around her
But
before
what
she
if
come
they
out to
coming
that,
from a half a place?
to that congregation.
What if they coming from a half a place? I was a comma.
Okay, what I'm saying is, we all know, we've all been to that place. It should be about the way you dress. But at the end of the day, if God truly called you and He's gonna touch someone where you're gonna be in, and then if you full of mission and you from the other side, then there's gonna be some people that ain't gonna get in. And I'm trusting the fact that this thing that is bigger than all of us, the Holy Spirit, is going to lead those ushers or the people in that congregation that's gonna willingly accept the person who truly comes from a place.
I'm telling you,
to come
if
to
you
that.
don't respect
Okay.
the establishment, then you may as well just keep your ass the
So
hell
they
out of
can't
there.
come to DC Curry Church if they have.
not at all.
DC Curry ain't gonna have no church because I got so much going on in my own life. I ain't, so DC won't be having no church. But I ain't going to a club any kind of way.
You gonna go to what?
I wouldn't go to a club any kind of way.
Nah, I mean, I ain't gonna go any kind of way. Even when I always, I stepped out. What you mean? You don't know me. I always step
I ain't
right.
say that. I just said you ain't go to the
okay.
club any kind of way, but you want to go to the church any kind of way.
What? Ho. I ain't say I went to the church any kind of way. I always step right. I just said I wore a lot of makeup and a lot of hair. I always step right.
Do you
It's one
still
thing
go to
about
church?
me.
Do you still go to church?
I still go to church.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's good because I said we need this age range of you.
Yeah, I still go
and
to
other
church.
youth to
Hey, I'm all right.
You said young people and stuff. I mean, no offense.
You're younger than I am.
Still, no offense. We'll be back.
Oh, my God.
Those of us who don't get hit by lightning leaving this show tonight.